And I thought, what planet are you on? Hello guys, welcome back to Car Obsession and welcome to another episode of Pit Stop Sunday. Well, I say Pit Stop Sunday, I actually thought of another name last night, so I'd like to run it past you to see which one you prefer. Now, seeing as these videos are kind of looking back at the week that's just happened, I thought, well, it's kind of like looking in your rearview mirror. So I thought, actually, that's quite a good name, the rearview mirror. So guys, what do you prefer, Pit Stop Sunday or the rearview mirror? I will put a poll in the, hang on, it's... No, hang on. Which side is it? I can never get this right. It's in one of his corners. You really thought you would have thought by now that I would know which corner to point into for the YouTube polls. I've been doing this for over 4 years, but it still quite bamboozles you because everything's kind of anyway. Yes. So I think Pit Stop Sunday sounds a bit snappier, a bit slicker, and perhaps maybe a little bit sexier. But also like the rear view mirror, or maybe just the rear view. But yeah, guys. Let me know. Just a quick one as well. I do apologise if this t-shirt is a bit creased. I think this is polyester, so you can't actually iron it. But I did try to put it on a low iron to get some of the creases out. But yeah, it's still a little bit scruffy looking. But yeah, I do apologise if my appearance is a little bit slapdash. So, what am I speaking about in this episode of the Pit Stop Sunday / the rearview mirror? Quite a lot of news this week, actually. In regard to what's been happening in my world, well, this week has been tiring, challenging, stressful, and frantic. So I'm not going to speak about my week too much because it has been relatively negative. And it's been one of those weeks where little things keep coming to annoy me. Have you ever had one of those weeks or perhaps one of those days where nothing really bad happens, but just lots of little things want to really just annoy the hell out of you? It's like I've been subjected to Chinese water torture, just drip, 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 drip. Oh! I won't dwell on this for too long, but I want to give you a little example of how my week has gone. Now, to be fair, I do see the funny side of what I'm about to show you, but at the time it was a little bit frustrating. Well, I'm not going to speak too much about it because you'll see for yourself, but picture the scene. I'm doing a piece to camera. It's quite clear I'm doing a piece to camera. I'm mid-flow and this happens. Hello guys and welcome back to Car Obsession. Last week I brought you a video talking through 5 things I like about Monique, my Mark 1 Mazda MX-5. This time it's talking about things I don't like about... Really? Unbelievable. I was flabbergasted. I fully appreciate that I'm filming in a public place, therefore people can do what they want. But at the same time, he could have easily walked around the camera, but he thought, no, I'm going to walk straight through. I thought, cheers, mate, thanks a lot. But yeah, that kind of gives you a little glimmer of how my week has been. But anyway, on to car news, of which there is quite a lot to speak about. To bring you guys an update, I have secured a 3rd press car. So last week I spoke about booking in the Caterham Super 7 1600 and a Hyundai. At this point, actually, I'm yet to fully book in the Hyundai, so I need to chase them up to get that booking finalised. But the 3rd car is one that I am quite excited about, as I'm quite a fan of the brand, and I think the new model looks really, really nice. And that is the Seat Leon, the 4th generation Leon. It is a striking car. Of course, it follows the same kind of design language as the Seat Tarraco, a car I reviewed last year. And some of you may remember that I wasn't a massive fan of the design of the Tarraco. But what I will say is I think the design cues, they do suit the Leon body shape better. And I think it is a really striking car. But I'd argue that each Leon that there has been striking in its own unique way. It's interesting to see how the car has evolved, because look at something like a Ford Focus. And if you were to line them all up, I'd argue that you can see some kind of consistency in regard to the design. But if you get all the Leons together, each one has kind of got its own look. And I would argue that there's not many styling cues that lead on from one model to the next. So I'd say the only Leons that look kind of similar are the Mark III and the brand new one, the Mark IV. But yes, I've got one of those coming in August. So I have it between, I think it is between the 17th of August and the 24th. And yeah, I'm quite excited to get that. I've always liked Seats anyway. I used to own a Seat. I had an Ibiza FR, which my dad now has actually. So yeah, I do like the brand. So the Leon, it will be available in 6 trim levels. There will be a choice of petrol engines, of course there'll be petrol engines, diesel engines, mild hybrid and also plug-in hybrid options. So as you can see, Seat has tried to make the Leon as up-to-date as possible and to try and make it future-proof in regard to offering a good choice of engines or powertrains, if you will. What else is new about it? The new car is longer, therefore it offers more space, but strangely enough, for the hatchback at least, the boot is exactly the same size as its predecessor, 380 litres. So I don't think that the new Leon hatchback will have a bigger boot despite the increase in size, because it won't. For what it's worth, I believe the new Leon is a bit slimmer, so it's not quite as wide as the Mark III. So that may be why the boot hasn't changed. But if you go for the estate version of the new Leon, then the boot is a bit bigger compared to the Mark III. It will have a fully digital cockpit. What's a cockpit? So it will have a fully digital cockpit. That's what I was trying to say. And it will be, as you would expect from Seat, the infotainment system will be pretty impressive to say the least. So I'll be getting the FR model, which is it's not a hot hatch, it's more of a warm hatch. So the FR can be had with a few different engine choices. The one I'll be getting will have the 1.5 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder petrol, which can be had with either 130 or 150 horsepower. I'm getting the former, so I'm getting the 130 horsepower. That is mated to a 6-speed manual, but you can also have a 7-speed automatic depending on the engine and the trim level, of course. The FR has got quite a few features, so I will have to consult to my notes, I'm afraid, to go through all of them to make sure I don't miss anything. So to name just a few features: keyless start, LED headlights and rear lights, 17-inch alloys, double exhaust pipes, which if it's anything like the brand new Ibiza FR I drove 1 or 2 years back, those exhaust pipes will be fake. They'll be hidden under the car, but it will look like it will have double exhaust pipe, which hopefully it won't have that, because that would be disappointing, but it wouldn't surprise me if it has. It also offers a 15mm drop in ride height, and it's got its own unique suspension, FR styling, 10-inch touchscreen, Seat Connect, Seat digital cockpit, front and rear parking sensors, wireless phone charging, and 3-zone air conditioning, to name a few. So it comes with a good amount of kit. For what it's worth, compared to the equivalent Ford Focus, which would be the ST line, the Leon is actually more expensive, but it does come with a few more features, so I suppose it does balance out a little bit. The Leon also offers more headroom despite having a lower roofline, so I anticipate that the seats in the car have been dropped down a bit. And it also offers something called Car2X. This is a cloud-based technology which is able to tell the driver of the condition of the upcoming traffic lights. So are they red, are they green, are they about to turn amber? And it can also alert drivers as to if there's any accidents up ahead, which is quite clever technology, I'm sure you'll agree. Hopefully it works quite well, because it's one of those things where on paper it looks really good, but in practice it may be a little bit flawed, or it may be a little bit, there may be a few teething issues. Teething issues. It's still quite early. I've not been up for too long. I did want to film this video yesterday, but I saw my dad, so it's quite a long day. So yes, so the new Leon looks to be very nice indeed. And speaking of the Ford Focus, this is probably going to be one of the main topics in this video. And I've got the thing up here. There we go. My review of the Ford Focus. Now, earlier this week, I had a comment on my review of the diesel ST Ford Focus, and the comment was, I'm trying to get it right word for word. Why is it called ST? It's a regular Focus with a regular diesel engine. They will slap an ST badge onto anything. And I must admit, when I read that comment, it did irk me somewhat, because I thought, well, that is a little bit narrow-minded. And I'm not going to go through the whole conversation on here, because we had a little back and forth. Not an argument, I'd say it's more a debate, a discussion. And to be fair, this viewer did bring up some good points, although there were some points that I just couldn't get on board with, because I just thought, no. But anyway, and I thought it was quite a good topic for discussion, and it's something I'd like to get you guys involved with. Would you argue that the Ford Focus ST Diesel should not be classed as a hot hatchback? And for me, it is kind of a tricky one, because let's think of it this way. One of the rivals for the Focus ST Diesel is, of course, the Volkswagen Golf GTD. And would I class that as a hot hatch? It's difficult. In all honesty, I would probably say no. Therefore, if I can't class that as a hot hatchback, why can I justify classing the Focus ST Diesel as a hot hatchback? It's an interesting one, because you look at the ST Diesel, it looks virtually the same as the petrol version, apart from the different exhaust at the back. From memory, the petrol one has got an exhaust pipe either side, and the diesel one has got a double exhaust in one corner. But apart from that, you look at the diesel ST, and from a distance, you wouldn't know whether it was diesel or petrol, unless you saw the rear and you were a little bit nerdy like me. But you look at the engine, it's a 2-litre EcoBlue. It is the most powerful diesel ever fitted to a Focus. 0 to 62 is 7.6 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. So that is quite quick, don't get me wrong. And I suppose on paper, it may not look overly racy, but when you drive the car, it does feel quite fast. Although one thing that does annoy me about the ST Diesel is the electronic rev limiter cuts in too soon. So whenever I drove it, I couldn't actually take it to the red line, because it would cut you off beforehand. It was like a parent that would stop you from having too much fun. You wanted to have a bit more of a play, but you couldn't. So what do you think, guys? Do you think the Ford Focus ST Diesel can be classed as a hot hatchback, or would you say it's a warm hatchback? Like I say, the viewer did make some good points, but there were certain things he or she said that I just couldn't agree with. So, for example, this person said that the petrol ST is quite slow. And I thought, what planet are you on? I thought, no, how can you say the petrol ST is quite slow? It's got the same 0 to 62 time as the FK8 Honda Civic Type R. And would you say that's quite slow? Well, bearing in mind, it was the fastest hot hatchback around the Nürburgring, I'd say no. And it's also got the same 0 to 62 time as the Renault 300 Trophy, if I'm not mistaken. So it was certain comments like that just made me shake my head, because I thought, how can you say a petrol ST is quite slow? If that's your idea of quite slow, I'd love to know what your idea of fast is. That's for certain. But yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think the ST Diesel is worthy of a hot hatchback crown or not? And do you think what do you think about the Golf GTD? Do you think that also deserves to be called a hot hatch or not? But I don't know, let me know. I do like to get your guys' involvement in these kind of things. So next topic, we stick with Ford, but only this time I'm not comparing it to a Volkswagen. This time I'm comparing it to a Ferrari, which will certainly pique your interest. Now, this is something I saw on my phone last night, in fact. I thought I have to speak about this. I think it was on Car Scoops, and there was a render of someone in their insanity, that thought it would be a great idea to merge a Ferrari F40 with a Ford Fiesta, a Mark 7.5 Ford Fiesta. So hopefully I can get the picture so I can show you. And I want to know what you guys think, because there will be some that think it looks good, but in my eyes that is sacrilege. That F40 has been butchered. The Mark 7.5 Fiesta is a good looking car, don't get me wrong, but to put its front end onto an F40, that just seems like, it just seems like blasphemy on car design. It really does. But yeah, I saw it. I thought I had to bring that up because it's going to be quite a talking point, I hope. But yeah, cringeworthy. It's one of those things where you see it and you don't really want to see it again. But I'm going to show you again anyway, just to tease you. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think that looks good, or do you think that looks awful? I really do hope you say the latter, not the former. But hey, each to their own. Car design is a subjective thing, whether it's a real car or a render. On to something that is most definitely real. Well, not anymore. The BMW i8. Regular viewers will remember that I drove the i8. I think it was back in 2018, I think. Quite a long time ago. And I drove the Roadster. And I quite enjoyed it. Not many people did though, because no one watched the video. But please, if you'd like to watch the video, please go and do so. Not right now. Don't go just yet. Please stay with me. Don't go just yet. And I, to be honest, I didn't know the BMW i8 was coming to a close, but the very last one rolled off the production line this week, and the colour was quite unique. In fact, it is reported it hasn't been used on any other i8, and the colour is Portimao blue, which is stunning, and apparently the colour is inspired by the Algarve's blue seas. Really striking colour, really distinctive. And that is it. The BMW i8 is dead, which I think is quite sad, because I think it is a very distinctive car, very bold, and I'd argue it's one of those cars where, how can I put it? I'd say for a car manufacturer, it's quite a risky car to make, and it's the kind of car that I think some manufacturers wouldn't make, because it is quite niche. Let's not beat around the bush. I think it's quite a niche car. It was also quite pricey, and I imagine that the target audience for it was quite narrow. So it's not. Put it this way: how many i8s do you see on the road? It's not many. I maybe say, on average, if I had to kind of guess, I'd say one every 2 weeks, maybe one every like 3 or 4 weeks. Either way, I don't see them very often. And I do think they are good cars, but it's difficult to kind of put them in a pigeonhole, because it's not a supercar, but is it? Well, I suppose you'd call it a sports car. I don't think it can quite warrant being a supercar, despite looking like a supercar. But it just seems a bit too extravagant to be classed as a sports car. Don't know, but I just think that it's got quite, well, I imagine it had quite a narrow demographic, and therefore it was a car that just wasn't really bought much, and that's a shame, because I think it's quite a bold, well, I think it was a bold move from BMW to make a car like that. I do hope there is something that replaces it, although I predict it will be fully electric as opposed to a hybrid. Because the i8 had an electric motor as well as a 1.5 litre engine, and yeah, it was good fun to drive, and I wish I could have had it for longer, because I only had it for about 20 or 30 minutes. Yeah, it was good. I drove it with the roof down. It was a nice sunny day, and we go from one BMW to another. This is really good. I'm just flowing into each topic seamlessly. It's brilliant. The new M5 Competition has been revealed this week. Oh, and doesn't it look good? So it's received a facelift. It looks a bit sharper, and the exterior also features black detailing, which I think makes the car look more aggressive. And I think it looks fantastic. It's quite understated. It's not in your face, but I kind of like that, because if you looked at it and you didn't know about cars, you would just go, oh, that's a BMW saloon. But when you bear in mind, this is a BMW saloon that can reach 62 miles per hour in just 3.3 seconds, which is insane. 3.3 seconds in a four-door saloon. That is mega. That is, wow. Yeah, amazing. And if you tick the right options, you can get the speed limiter increased to 189 miles per hour in a BMW saloon. That is insane. That's thanks to a 4.4 litre twin turbo V8. So the power hasn't changed. It offers 625 horsepower and a tarmac shredding 750 Newton meters of torque. That is crazy. I know I keep saying it, but I have to keep emphasizing it. In a four-door saloon. Oh, the mind boggles. So the power hasn't changed. Of course, it's received a little bit of a nip tuck here and there. But there's three key talking points for the new M5 Competition. So the first of which is that it's got adaptive dampers taken from the M8 Competition. BMW says that it should make it a bit more comfortable, but also a bit more focused when you want it. So the adaptive dampers will work with the driving modes Comfort, Sport and Sport Plus. So quite self-explanatory. Comfort is where you want your comfort, and your Sport and your Sport Plus is where you want to be a bit more leery. So yes, you've got new, I suppose they are bespoke dampers, borrowed from the M8 Competition. As well as that, you've got a new infotainment screen. It's now 12.3 inches, so you get a larger touchscreen in the car, which is nice. And you've also got the M Dynamic mode. BMW states that this mode is able to offer controlled drifts and entertaining handling, which in my eyes sounds like Chris Harris's wet dream. Yeah, so that I imagine that would be a lot of fun in the right conditions, of course. And the M Dynamic mode can also make the car rear-wheel drive for, and I quote, for the traditional BMW M5 experience. So if you're feeling a bit brave and you've got a large pair, then you can send all that massive amount of power to the rear wheels if you're feeling a little bit brave. Yeah, so that's the new BMW M5 Competition. It is priced from £98,095, which does seem a lot of money. But think of it like this: you're essentially getting two cars in one, because you've got supercar performance, but in a practical body shape. So it's little wonder why the BMW M5 has been so popular. So yes, that's pretty much the car news out the way. Don't know how long I've been speaking for, probably quite a long time actually. I did want to make this video quite short, but I think I've failed, as I do normally. So I'm going to quickly finish it off with my favourite comments of the week on YouTube. So let's kick off with Alan Jackson. He commented on my video last week when I was updating you with car news and so forth. So basically the first video of this new format. He put, okay, so for some positive feedback, I finally picked up my new car last week. It's 10 months old, but still by far the newest car I've ever bought. I was looking at a small SUV, VW T-Roc or a Skoda. However, your review of the Ford Focus Active X changed my mind. Very happy with it too. Thank you. So yeah, that's really good to see, because when I drove the Ford Focus Active, my argument was, actually, is this better than an SUV? And Alan appears to agree with my thoughts. So thank you, Alan, for watching. And I'm glad that my video helped you to buy a car that you're happy with. So yeah, massive thumbs up there. Next we go to Mr. Sunnyboy. I do hope I've pronounced that correctly. So he commented on my video where I spoke about whether I regretted modifying Monique, my Mark 1 MX-5. And he has put, nice to see you out enjoying your favourite car. No other feeling like it. Keep them coming. So he's a regular viewer and a regular commenter. So thank you so much, pal. Much appreciated. Next comment is from Michael Davies. He has put, so this is on my MX5 buyer's guide video. He's put, love this video, mate. I bought my first MX5 SVT because of your videos. Thanks. So again, someone who has bought a video based on my opinion, which is amazing that people actually value my opinion. So thank you very much. So Michael, thank you so much for watching. Right, next up is one from Car Watch. He or she commented on my video that I did last week, the kind of first episode of this new format, and they have put, really like the catering content. The reason I subscribed, had an R300 but sold it last year and I miss it. Need another at some point. I was thinking 420R. What's your favourite of the current lineup? So firstly, thank you for watching and for commenting. I'd say my favourite caterer is probably the 360. I think that's the sweet spot because it has enough performance to use on the road without having to drive at silly speeds or to get your license taken away, but it still has enough performance to use on the track. Well, I suppose any caterer is fast enough for the track, but I'd say the 360 is the perfect blend of usability on the road, but also track performance. So that's what I would have if I were buying a caterer. Next up, we have Alan Barclay. He commented on, again, the first episode of this, and he's put, many thanks for your fantastic unbiased review on the Suzuki Vitara SZ5 last year on and off-road. Finally, after many months of deliberation, I've decided to opt for the top model, mainly thanks to you, and now with hybrid. I have watched your video lots of times. I have certain love for the Vitara as I owned a first generation Vitara JX long wheelbase in the 80s. Brilliant car. Thanks. So again, it seems to be a running theme for these comments, and that is purely by accident. So again, I've made a video, I've helped someone buy a car they are happy with, and as I've said before, that is a fantastic feeling. It really, really is. And I think there's one more, which is from Hip Finds. I do hope I've pronounced that correct. He or she is a regular viewer and regular commenter, so thank you very much for that. Need to find they've actually commented on a few videos, so I need to make sure I find the correct one. Here we go. So this was on my video where I was speaking about if I regretted modifying Monique, and they've put, love your content lately. Had a dream car project which I moved on. I'm back in a Mark 1, my sixth one. Wow, sixth Mark 1. I have gold alloys as well. Would love for Patsy to review and to do a point of view drive in Monique. So I did think about doing a Patsy rates cars with Monique, but it seemed a little bit pointless because she would pretty much say the same things that I would. But if that's something you'd like to see, guys, then please do let me know. I can make that happen. And in regards to the point of view drive, well, you are in luck because that is the very next video to come after this one. I filmed a point of view video last week, and that I'm in the process of editing that video. Obviously, I'll edit this video first, so that will be coming to your screens on Wednesday. On Wednesday, what date is that? 22nd, 24th. Yeah, 24th. And I think that's about time for me to finish because I was only really planning to do this video for about 15 minutes, but I've got into a good flow and I've ended up doing a video which is almost double that. So yeah, it's time for me to finish. I do hope you have enjoyed this video. I do apologise for the length, but you know what I'm like. When I start talking, it's difficult to shut me up. But yeah, I hope you have enjoyed my rambling for God knows how many minutes it's been. If you have enjoyed it, please do like the video, subscribe if you haven't done already, comment if you want to. I'd love to get your guys' feedback and to get your interaction. If you are subscribed, please don't forget to click the bell icon so you get notified every time I make a video. But until the next time, guys, be sure to keep up the car obsession. Boom, one take. That's how we like it. Yeah, one take. Not 7 like last week. Yeah. One take, Aaron.